This weekend, the Baker administration announced a ban on on-site consumption at bars and restaurants, but allowed them to stay open for takeout purchases. In addition, he instituted a ban on gatherings of more than 25 people. In the wake of this, the stores like Yankee Candle and entertainment complexes like Bounce Trampoline Sports, in addition to the MGM Casino, are closing for the period of time. All of this will have a significant impact on the local economy. Carolee McGrath sat down with Rick Sullivan, the president and CEO of the Western Mass Economic Development Council, to learn more.
What we talk about today could change by the end of this telecast, so it is very fast moving. So people really need to be paying attention to really the government websites to know what's going on. But first and foremost, it's obviously a health emergency that people should be following the health protocols. But there will be short and potentially long-term drags on the economy and certainly impacting smaller businesses in particular, but business in general as a result of this.
And certainly retail, because that was a big thing that was announced by the governor on Sunday, and restaurants and bars, that you can't dine in, but you can take out. That's going to be a big hit. Right,
and particularly when you're looking at the smaller restaurants, they're on very small margins, and they rely on the cash flows, and now that cash flow is drying up. So you're starting to see the state government in particular, but you're also seeing organizations like Common Capital offer short-term smaller business loans to be able to hopefully get people over the hump. I think there'll be additional programs as this moves on and to see the impact, so to get people through the next however long we're talking about, but it looks like it's going to certainly be months, but there's going to be impacts to then. I think people should be encouraged if they've got their favorite restaurant or small business and following the protocols that are set out for health purposes. If they can go do takeout or buy the gift card, they should do that to help those small businesses and those restaurants out.
And a big problem, obviously, for those waiters and waitresses in those restaurants as well. Places like Bounce, which is an entertainment place for kids, those places are closed as well. And those employees will be suffering.
Sure. So you're already seeing, the federal government and the state government has already relaxed all of the rules around unemployment benefits, everything from what qualifies to the requirements for individuals. They no longer have to personally go to the centers to do the reporting. They can do it over the phone. There's other mechanism in place. But I was talking to somebody yesterday. They're seeing, the state of Massachusetts is seeing 200 applications a day for unemployment benefits as a result. So it is going to impact families, which is why you're seeing discussions. Senator Romney at the federal level talking about is there a way to send people a $1,000 check to be able to get them through this time period so that they can pay their mortgages, pay their rent, buy their food, because it is going to trickle down the economic food chain.
And do you think that's going to happen? I know that was something that was done in 2001 and 2008. Do you think that he'll get some momentum on that?
Yeah, I don't know whether he'll get it specifically on that proposal, but it's good to see that even at the federal level, they've been able to come together for a COVID-19 response. So the House and the Senate, and it looks like the president will sign it, that they're able to still in times of emergencies get together and act accordingly. I think, Governor Baker has been out front here in Massachusetts doing a good job trying to get ahead of it as much as possible. So I think the flow of information has been good, and people need to go, not necessarily just to the internet. They really need to go to the formal government websites to get the best information. We're lucky here in Western Massachusetts to have Bay State and to have, Mercy, that have very proactive websites that can really give you the best information that's reliable and true.
Now, one of the measures that the state had passed, they approved a $10 million small business loan fund. That obviously is going to be something needed.
It is going to be needed, and again, it's very similar to the Common Capital proposal that's out there, working with a number of the other partners to be able to access that in the short run, to be able to get the businesses over the hump. The repayment provisions on that are about as favorable as you can get right now. I won't be surprised if those programs continue to evolve, that there's going to need to be more of an influx of money in terms of 10 million, probably not ultimately going to be enough, but it's a very good start, and it's a recognition that this is going to be impactful, particularly to the small businesses.
And you spoke a little bit about how this has just evolved. About a week ago, the mayor of Holyoke announced that they were shutting down the St. Patrick's Day parade and road race, which was supposed to be this weekend, and here we are on St. Patrick's Day. And I think at the time there was still a lot of sentiment that was like, really, are we overreacting? And then you see what happened within just the next few days and day by day. But that is a huge hit, obviously, to Holyoke.
Yeah, I think it certainly is a big hit. It's a big event for them, both emotionally and a celebration. Really, it's really putting Holyoke on the map for that whole week, if not longer. But just the dollars that it brings into the local restaurants and the bars and to other vendors that benefit from having that kind of a crowd. And travel and tourism in general in Western Massachusetts has become, it's always been important, but with the casino and the addition of the Seuss Museum and the investments at the Hall of Fame, Western Massachusetts really is a travel and tourism. That is an important part of our sector, economic sector right now, and that is certainly taking a hit. And it's not just the venues; it's all of the other vendors and restaurants and bars and hotels that take advantage of those 1 day, 2 day, 3 day trips. That is going to slow down. So it just kind of snowballs, if you will.
What are you hearing from manufacturing companies?
So they may have been a little bit earlier into it, particularly if they were doing business overseas, whether it was with China or Europe. Obviously, that's where it all kind of started. They had started to see orders slow down. Those relationships were, kind of, put on hold for a while as they were dealing with the issues in China and Europe, particularly, now Italy and Spain and England and Ireland. So they kind of were almost the canary in the mine shaft a little bit early, if you will, that they had already seen orders to slow down. And so, I think everybody thinks that when we can get through this, things will pick up. Things were good before this, and hopefully we get back to that point. But it's going to take some months before that happens.
And nonprofits as well, suffering.
We were talking earlier. I think the nonprofits is kind of an area where perhaps people don't necessarily think of it being hard hit or part of the economy. It's an important part of the economy. Everything from food banks to scouting programs. I mean, it's really everything. And this is a time when people look to those not-for-profits for services, and yet many of them had to cancel their fundraisers. Their employees are out, the same as it is in any other business, so they're having trouble meeting demand in terms of those services. So it is an opportunity on two fronts. One, if you're able to support your local charity, please do so. Now is a really good time to do that because they probably need that support now more than ever. And even if they're not able to have their fundraiser, if you can still be supportive of that, if you would have been, to send them a check for that. I have to say the Community Foundation of Western Massachusetts has really been out in front on this. If not-for-profits go to their website, they are putting together a program specifically for the issues around COVID-19 and relief from that, so a grant program there. So I would encourage not-for-profits to take advantage of that. And there's a network across the state of not-for-profits that has stepped up to do the same thing. So it's being recognized, but I think everybody in their daily life, and Western Mass has just a great tradition of coming together and being supportive. So now's the time to be to do that. And don't forget your not-for-profits, whether you're talking the Boys and Girls Club or the Y or the Scouting Program. Everybody's in the same boat trying to provide those services.